Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dr. Inia Desnia show. I'm glad to be here today. Another fantastic show this evening or this afternoon, wherever you are. I'm Dr. Inia Desnia. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who has actually, supported this program in any form or the other. I just said shout out to all of you. Really appreciate all of you. We're waxing stronger. But I will mention this later again, but um, I'm going to be away for 2 weeks. Yeah, I know I did a short stint earlier on this month, but the next 2 Tuesdays, I would actually be on vacation. So I might, let me not say never, but likely might not be online or, having this show in the next 2 weeks because I just have to spend some time to also relax. But again, never say never. If I have time to just put in the show, I would definitely do that. So again, wanted to thank everyone that has been very supportive, watched, or just been there. We've waxing stronger again, started in October and last year, and almost soon will be our anniversary. Anyway, we have some weeks, no, the months down the line. All right, so today I have another interesting topic. Of course, if you're joining me for the very first time, this is a platform where I use my professional knowledge, use my professional background with experience, right? To bring resources, just speak to SMEs, small, medium, and medium-sized enterprises on how to make their small or medium-sized enterprise thrive. Now, sometimes I bring people here to also add to the knowledge base. Now, of course, what I say here is really only for informative purposes, only for educative purposes, is actually forms a platform so that you can say, okay, this exists. So based on that, I would research further or talk to a professional, because remember, what I speak on this platform is just general information. Yours, there might be something specific about what you do, so your business have specific issues that may be beyond the scope of this discussion, but at least it's good for you to have the knowledge base so that you know, okay, this is the next step. This is what I need to do. I need to get more information on this. All right. So you're welcome here this evening or this afternoon or this morning or this day. Let me use the word day because wherever you are. All right. So today's topic is how to effectively delegate. I believe I spoke on delegation some shows before. Before it was actually a YouTube channel and a podcast platform, but I just decided to just focus on the YouTube channel, right? But I believe I spoke on this maybe a little bit before, and I just decided to speak on this topic again, or if I haven't, I'm going to check. I think I have, but just in case I haven't, but even if I have, this is just to add to what I said in the past, because a lot of people are asking questions and say, oh my goodness, how do I delegate? Oh, I can't delegate. And you know what, I'm thinking of delegating, but I'm having issues. I don't know how to go about it. Now, I get it. I get that you're a perfectionist. I know sometimes in my job, in what I do, I actually want to take up so much, right? Even though I have people that work for me, I want to take up so much when it comes to specifics, right? And I had to learn to step back because you don't want to be burnt out, right? And I had to learn to say, okay, what is it that I'm delegating? What is it that I'm giving people to do, right? So for me, even though I do some things in addition to the general oversight and supervision, right? I often do try to make sure that the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. Sometimes I think I overdot the I's or overcross the T's, right? Sometimes I do more than maybe. That is because I really want to make sure it's done well. So I get it. I get if you're in that shoe and say, you know what, I really want perfection. I want everything to be done right. I get it, right? So I understand where you're coming from, but really, you have to learn to delegate. You can't just say that, oh, I want to do everything by myself, because you're going to be burnt out. And you don't want that to happen, because at your level as a business owner, you want to be at the level of strategic planning, right? You want to make sure that some work that you should be able to avoid some work, right? I'm not saying there should not be an oversight, that you can, oversee people's work, but generally there's some jobs or some duties that you want to hold on to and do on your own. So today I'm going to talk about how to effectively delegate. Now, the very first thing is to say that you're willing to delegate. That's why I was going on and on, speaking about some issues that people have about delegating. But the very first thing you need to do is that you said, you know what? Yes, I want to delegate. You have to have that mindset to, you know what? I want to step back and let go when it comes to, some task. It doesn't mean that you won't oversee. It doesn't mean that you won't check it out, but it's just a form of saying that, you know what, I'm ready to say, you know what, I'm ready to let go. I'm ready to give people the opportunity to help me, right? So that's the very first step, to realize that, okay, yes, or to agree with yourself, within yourself, that yes, I want to delegate. All right, you have to agree. You have to say, okay, then, because when you have that mindset to say that you want to delegate, then you can go to the next level of how do you do that? Okay, so first of all, you want to say that you want to decide to delegate, right? Second of all, you want to look at you ask yourself, which tasks are you actually delegating, right? I'm not saying that you should, the entire processes in your business, whether you're a service-oriented business or a product-oriented business, that's a person that produces products, right? Or someone that provides services. I'm not saying that everything you should say, you know what, hands off. No, I'm not saying that. So I would say, first of all, after deciding that you're going to delegate, the next step is deciding on what you're going to delegate. Now, there's some leadership skills that you might say, you know what, I want to, or leadership, I will say leadership responsibilities, duties that maybe oversight. You might say, you know what, I'm still going to keep that with me. But general things like maybe marketing, right? You want to say that you want to give you don't want to be the person always going to meet the potential clients or customers, right? You don't want to be that person. You might be at the top end when you say, okay, they want to ask questions. You might do that, or you might just say, you know what, you're handing that marketing over, right? You might be, okay, one other thing might be a process of maybe even the accounting process, right? Yes, you don't have to say that, you know what, I need to see every single check. You might say, you know what, I want to see a check at this level, right? Maybe checks of general work in the office, maybe general expenses, maybe little things, maybe the papers, because I'm talking about an SME now, right? Please, I'm not talking about large enterprise, but an SME, you might say, okay, somebody's in control or responsible for, with things like stationery, right? Things like lunch or snacks or things like that. You have somebody that is responsible for that. Those are just a few examples, right? What about administrative work, right? Some people they're answering all the calls. But as the business owner, right? Your job should not be taking every call, right? Somebody should answer those calls. And even before it even gets to you, it could be something that maybe you've been working on, some kind of clarification. But remember, your level, you actually should be at the level of, using your skills in a very productive way, right? I mean, monitoring stationery is not a productive. I mean, that's not productive. Monitoring, how much stationery do we need, right? That is not what you should be doing as the owner of the business, right? So again, what are you delegating exactly? That's the second step. first of all, determine what are you delegating. What duties are you delegating, right? So you have the couple of duties, responsibilities that you're delegating, 5, whatever, whatever you want to delegate, you have them, right? You have it, because a lot of people even have people actually working with them, but those people are not doing much, right? So what are you delegating? What is it that you're delegating? That's defining what it is. Remember, I said maybe marketing, maybe administrative work, maybe accounting approval work for purchasing of some items. What is it that you're delegating, right? You might not want to delegate everything on accounting. You just want to be able to here and there, monitor some transactions here and there on the high level, but generally basic things here and there, because it's just taken off your table, right? So you can focus on growing your business, right? So that is another step to decide what you're delegating. Once you decide what you're delegating, you keep that and say, okay, these are responsibilities I'm delegating. Now, the next step is for you to look at your staff and say, okay, who has that? What are their strengths? What are their strengths? What is this? My staff, this my staff, this my staff that they're working with me. What are their strengths? One of them might say, okay, this person is very good with communication. The person is very personable, right? The person, and that person can be either, okay, it could be personable is someone that could be on the admin side, can actually respond to people that even are irate people that get angry, and the person knows how to, diffuse the situation. All right. On the other side, someone that can actually has very good communication skills can be someone that would be a good marketer. But communication might not also be excellent in marketing. But again, that's a pathway. We're going to other steps, but someone that actually can, because you can't even market if you can't communicate. So a good communicator, very good. Then another person might be very detailed, right? I'm thinking when you see detailed, my mind rings as an accountant, right? Detail when it comes to when it comes to maybe the person is very good when they spend money, they always bring the receipts and make sure that everything is in order and very well organized. And this is unique in this person because your other staff, they don't have that quality. It's not that bad. When you call those staff, I'm looking for your expense sheet, they eventually bring it. But this person is always on task, always making sure that they really bring, when they have any issue with expenses or any expense that they incur or they spend or whatever they do with, with the finances of the company, they always bring receipts. They always bring, documentation to show that, okay, this is what I spent the money on, right? So they're very to do that. So these are, you determine how strong people are. Maybe the person that even does that, bringing the receipts and on time, the person is not a good communicator, right? It's not, not that the person is bad, but the person is an introvert. That's not who you put in front to be at the administrative table on the administrative table, or that person cannot be a marketer. So look at who you have and just know what are their strengths. What is it that, okay, I have something here. What are the strengths? I have within the people I have. A lot of times someone that you already have people that you can actually delegate, responsibilities to regarding, your job responsibilities. You don't have to say, oh, I'm hiring new people. Look at what you have first before you start hiring new people. All right. Then when you have the task, you have the people, right? Now, of course, you match them. This will do the accounting. This will do basic accounting. This person will do my marketing. This one will do my admin. Of course, there are more. It depends on what industry you're in, but I'm just making it very easy. Making it very easy. Of course, some people have more areas, right? Responsibilities that they need. And when you actually do this, when you have them, the next step is to really, really, define what are your expectations. right? So many people, I've heard this and I've seen this, that people say, oh, they didn't meet my expectation. Oh, I didn't think they met my expectation. But the question is, what really was your expectation? What do you expect from them, right? I believe I mentioned this the SMART mnemonics. And I mentioned in that SMART, we have things like, is it the specific task? How do you measure that task? Is it attainable, right? Right? Is it relevant, right? And I believe it's the time. You cannot give somebody a task without saying that I want this done at this time, right? You cannot, a lot of times people say, I expected this. What did you expect? And when people come to me and say, like, what I expected this from the person, I said, what is it that you expected? What are the goals you said, what set in place for that person? And say, were those goals, were they specific? Oh, I want you to do this. Were they attainable? Are you giving them goals? Okay, you put someone on the marketing team. Are you giving the marketing person something ridiculous that even you could not achieve it? Right? You, the owner of the company, you say, oh gosh, I believe, no. I believe, oh, he didn't really meet, or she didn't meet that expectation. So is it something that's attainable? All right? Is it something that's even relevant to that responsibility? And I mean, I like this time bound. Is it something that, have you given the person a deadline? The person brings in, a week later, and you said, oh my goodness, what happened? I wanted it by Thursday. Why did you bring it 1 week later? Did you tell the person? Was there a deadline? Did you inform that person? So yes, you have to set goals and expectations, right? Some people say, I can't delegate because I've delegated before and it has failed. Well, how did you delegate? What did you do? Right? What did you do? How did you delegate? Okay. Another important aspect of effective delegation is providing resources. Now, let's say you are the owner of the company, you know the process that you like. I tell people all the time that even if you move to another company, usually processes, they might be similar, but something might not be 100% the same, right? Usually there might be some tweaks here and there. You have owned the company for a couple of years, it could be even months, that's fine. But you have a process in place. This is not, what I said before. In this case, you have to actually, because before I talking about SMART, right? Expectations and everything. But in this case, what's the process that you want the person to follow to achieve this? Assuming, let's say the person is the marketing person that you said, okay, yes. So do you want the person, first of all, to call, leave a message, call twice, call once? What is the process? What is your process for marketing, right? I know specific means that yes, market, make sure, give them deadline, targets that are attainable. Of course, you want to measure the targets, but what is your process? As I said, an example is marketing, right? So what is your process, right? In marketing, is it like they communicate and get some lead generation? How does it work? So you need to give people processes. Let them understand your process. What is specific? What is your process? Okay. Sometimes people give, even if it's a manual, maybe it might not even be so like a manual per se. It could be something like maybe something like a handout, something that is specific to your company, right? Very important, right? So again, we've talked about not assuming, but this is not even assuming. This is process bound. How do you want to make sure? How does the person? What is the process, right? What about admin? Do they answer the call by saying that their name, who their company, your name, what do you want? How do I help? What do you want? What is your process? Right? You have to, because many people have different processes. Your process might be different. All right. So that's another point. Another point, and the next point I would say is that clear communication, clear cut, or well, maybe I should not put cut, but clear communication. People need to speak and also speak and you respond, right? There should be clear communication, clear path of communication, right? They should be able, sometimes even though it's a medium-sized company, right, or even small company, there are so many bottlenecks. So when there's no clear flow of communication, delegation cannot work. You can't delegate effectively without clear communication, clear paths of communication, right? Emailing the person, speaking on the phone. Of course, you might not want, there should be a process on that too, right? So that if somebody doesn't understand what is required, they can actually reach out, right? And even if you don't respond immediately, unless it's urgent, you might say, okay, some people have this process that if it's not urgent, they'll say, okay, email me, I'll get back to you shortly. But if it's urgent, please put high priority there. Also, maybe sometimes you can even text the person, say, this is important, I need you to respond. That is communication. That's clear line of communication. If there's none, because how about if it's, let's say, a marketing deal? Let me tell you why it's so important. A marketing deal, of course, for example, there are other areas, but let me say that the person works for your company and you delegated this to the person that is into marketing, right? And they need to, if somebody's asking them something very important, and the staff is not very clear. And of course, the person doesn't want to lie, or would I say lie? I won't say lie. The person doesn't want to misrepresent the company. That's the word. Because maybe the person is not sure, but what the new customer is asking for is something that will attract that customer. Now, if your company doesn't offer that, right, it's not right for your marketing professional or your marketing staff to say, oh yes, we offer that, and then it becomes an issue. Of course, the person will know what you offer, but sometimes there might be some issues or some items that need to be clarified, right? Clarified. So that's why clear communication, or the person might even be admin staff. The admin staff might need some clarification here or there. And what about the person that's spending, or the accountant that wants to make a purchase, and they find out that, all right, there's a specific item that you want to buy, but there's a new item that is actually cheaper, and it's a cheaper item, and it actually does the same thing as the old item that you were using, although the former item is actually more expensive, and the person is at the store, right? Really, and remember, maybe the person has a crunch deadline that has to come back to the office and finish this. So the person needs to communicate with you immediately, right? So very, very important. Clear lines of communication is very important. Very important. Remember, we're talking about how to effectively delegate. Clear lines of communication, very, very important. All right. So again, it depends on what you're delegating. All right. Then another aspect, another point to effectively delegate is, of course, you should supervise the person, right? Let it be that you oversee what the person is doing. At the beginning, of course, I wouldn't expect anyone you're delegating to be 100% perfect, right? So you need to supervise, you need to be patient, and also give feedback. Now, feedback is not only negative feedback. Please, it's not only negative feedback. Feedback is also positive feedback. And even if you want to give a negative feedback, start with the good item and say, oh, you did this right and did that right. Start with the good item, or just commending. Then you can say, oh, this one, there's an issue here, right? Let's look at how we can correct that, right? Instead of coming out to tell the person, oh my goodness, that's why I didn't want to delegate. I thought you were better than this, and start saying things to the person that will not make the person happy, right? Even though the person is working with you or working for you, the person is a human being, right? So think of it. I always say that what you won't take, don't give it out, all right? If somebody tells you that, you won't be happy, because it's not easy to have good staff. If this person is even doing a good job, coming to work on time and still doing a good job and making mistakes here and there because the person just started, when I say started, took up this responsibility, you have to say kudos to the person, but you also correct the person in a nice way. All right. Because so you have to be an effective boss. To effectively delegate, you have to be an effective boss, right? You need to make sure that this person is happy working for you and that the person actually is ready to be corrected because the things you say, the things you do, right? The things, how you go about it, right? Of course, that person will definitely change or be happy, right? Because your goal is to make sure that at the end of the day, supervision is good. Supervision is very good, but you want to when you supervise someone and the mistakes are less, almost like very minimal, right? It puts less work on you, right? Because when you supervise, the person makes mistakes, the person has to correct it and come back to you. But because the way you actually continue to correct, the way you go about things, this person would eventually get it. And you have to be patient. If you, I know you might say, okay, but yeah, I know how to do it. You are the owner of the company, and you might have done this severally, maybe over and over and over again, because at the beginning, usually many people that are now multi-million businesses, right? Some of them started in their garage, some of them started in the basement. So maybe you've done it so many times because you are the all in all, right? These people, they don't really know your business. Yes, they've been there for some time, but because they haven't had this responsibility before, it's new to them. So honestly, I would say be patient and make sure you guide the person, really give positive feedback to that person. And as you're giving the negative feedback, all right, it's very, very important because we're talking about effective ways of delegating. Now, in addition to delegating, because I know these ones are all your staff, right? I also want to add, there are some things that you can actually outsource. Delegating is good, but you can outsource some responsibilities, right? If you really think that you don't want to fully delegate, that you can, well, when you outsource, is that delegating? Well, in a way, because you're hands off. But in this case, you're not really supervising because they're actually outsourcing. They know what they're doing, right? Now, it also depends on your industry, right? What you're doing, your business. Your business might be the kind that cannot really have certain information outside your office, right? So most people like that, they actually do not want to delegate like that. I'm sorry, they don't want to outsource. They prefer hiring enough staff to delegate, right? So make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure you are, when I say you know what you're doing, of course, I'm talking about when it comes to delegating. I'm sure you guys are fantastic when it comes to your business. Fantastic. Kudos to all of you. But generally, what I'm saying is that make sure that when you're delegating, you go through these points, right? And just sit back and put things in place before you delegate. All right. Once you put things in place before you delegate, it just becomes a bit more easy. It becomes easier. All right. And the process flows smoother, right? And because you don't want to delegate and it causes you a headache. You don't want that to happen. You want to delegate and it will cause you a headache. All right. You want to delegate. Being able to delegate is for you to sit back and really cut your, would I say, I'm not going to say cut your hours really, but it's really focusing on you, making sure that you can leave work that is not really that other people can do, so you can focus on work that really requires your own skills, right? Skills that especially the skills that are required to build and continue to grow your SME, right? The small and medium-sized enterprise. All right. So great. So awesome. Okay. So I'm going to just jump into the questions right now. Yes. So then that's the next segment. The question we have here is the first question is, the materials used to produce my products are very expensive. I really do not want to increase my pricing. You have any suggestions for my business? Okay, I mean, I want, well, it's your choice. It's your choice. But I would always say that please don't say you don't want to increase your prices, right? Of course, I can't go against what you want, but I would say don't always say that. Make sure that if you do, okay, maybe you said you're not going to, but let me add this. If you eventually do want to increase your pricing, just do a certain analysis, work with a professional, and let them come up with a price that is reasonable, right? If you do, but I would advise to rethink that word that you don't want to increase your pricing because, as you said, your raw materials, products, materials I would think is, well, raw materials, are very expensive. So I would say, you would, first of all, I would say, if you've been with this supplier for some time, the first thing I would suggest is ask for a discount. As a supplier and say, okay, you know what, I've been with you for some time. Can you give me some kind of discount that your prices has increased tremendously, right? Or whatever, maybe not tremendous, but has increased. Ask them, right? Sometimes there might be something out there that you can actually get a discount. Number two, look for alternatives. Look for what you can use in place of what you're already using. Now, please, I'm not talking about compromising quality. When I'm saying that you should look for alternatives, I'm not talking about looking for something of lower quality. Because when you change the quality of your product, right, you will definitely lose customers. So we're looking at ways that you can increase revenue, and one way to decrease revenue is reducing the quality of your product. So please make sure you do not do that. That's why I said, if you have a good product and you tell your customers that, you know what, there's inflation, one thing I tell people, be transparent. Tell your customers, tell your clients, just be transparent. And you say it out there that, you know what, that there's some kind of increase, I'm going to increase it, just, give them time, right? But I would, please, but I'm insisting here and I'm stressing here, do not reduce the quality of your products, okay? So I said, ask for discounts. I said, look for alternatives, right? Do some research, look for alternatives. And also, when I say look for alternative, in two ways, alternative for the raw materials you're using, or secondly, an alternative supplier. Some people are so loyal to suppliers, which is good. But if your supplier, is giving you a price that is way above the market price, because everybody knows this supplier and the supplier knows that, oh yes, people will always come to me, I would say do your research. There are some suppliers that are just coming into the market and they said, you know what, I just want people to know me. Because of that, I'm just going to do a markup. Like I'm going to just give a certain percentage. When it comes to profit, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to really mark up my product because I want to get into the market. I want people to get to know me. Look for those suppliers. Look for those suppliers. Yes, it will take research, right? It will take interviews, or when I say research, and you looking through products to see which one is best. When I say interviews, I will say maybe discussion with the owners, right? Now, make sure that product that they're selling is not an inferior product. Remember, we're talking about raw materials, because if you use an inferior product for raw materials, what will happen is that your product would also not be at par, will not be up to standard, all right? So you don't want that to happen, all right? So these are some of the ways that some of my suggestions, of course, there could be more, there's likely to be more, but I would just say based on my experience, this is a few things that you should do, all right? Okay, so let's go to the next question. I am in the service industry and I offer free consultation. Clients take their advice sometimes and do not use my services. Do I scrap my free consultation? Okay, this is about someone that I believe maybe is an advisory person, because I don't think it's mainly, I think it's gender is advisory, I think, just based on this question. Now, yes, a lot of people do free consultation. They'll say, oh yes, come and consult with me then I would, for them to, is a way to actually get business. But I will say here, is that I'm not saying that the question here is that should I scrap my free consultation? Oh no, I won't say you should scrap. I won't use the word scrap, but it depends on it depends. So this is how I would say that it just depends. Now, I've seen even attorneys that do free consultation for 10 minutes. And that 10 minutes, I know someone that does that. You don't really get much, right? Just gives you a format, a framework of it, right? This particular this is her job. She's an attorney. She gives you a just basic framework. So she doesn't really give you everything, just some basic framework. Now, with that, you're not taking anything away from her. 10 minutes is really not a long time. So she gives you basic framework. So you could do that because that's one way. You could say, you know what? Okay, one way could be scrapping. You might say, no, I'm not doing it again. That might be an option. Second option would be don't give them everything. You can give them, when you say free consultation, you don't have to give them every information, right? That's number two. You don't have to give them every information that they require. You might just give them a framework within that time, just like this attorney, and as I said, did. A third option is that you could say, you know what, when you come to meet with me, right, I will charge you a fee, right? Maybe it's a 30 minutes consultation. But if you come with me, if I work for you, if you can end up using my services, that will be a credit to your fee. Do you get that? So you don't lose out. If you come to work with me, if you come to work for me, or with me, not for me, with me, if you come, like if you use my services, what I'll do for you is that fee you paid to me would be a credit to you. So it will be a deduction. A credit means that you'll be a deduction from your total fee, which would apply since you are working you're working with me, right? Your case or since you're consulting with me eventually. So in that case, it's really free if they come to work with you, but you don't lose out because, as you said, a lot of times people just come to you and get the information and they use it. They don't use your services. So let them pay for that 30 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever, 30, because you might say, you know what, you don't want to do the 10 minutes and not really give them anything. You might usually sometimes that free consultation is actually to just show people that you know what you're doing. So you might say, okay, you know what, I really want to go into the meat of the situation. I really want to discuss with them. So based on that discussion, right, you said, okay, yes, they've paid you your fee, but they will get that free consultation if they come back and use your services, right? So in a way, you have won, right? You have the money that you use to do your consultation. So you can say free consultation, but there's a caveat. This depends, all right? So just depends. So you can, and I know that that's the service industry, and a lot of times people take people for granted, and some people that are passionate about what they do, they are open to actually discuss and tell people, oh, this is the way to go about things. This is how to go about things, right? And so that is something that usually when people start off, they come out and they get so excited when, oh, I want to consult with you for free. But sometimes people just come and just get the information and they just leave, right? And the goal is for you to make money. You're not there just to, give people information to leave. Now, for me, sometimes I actually, pro bono is something that I do sometimes. It's not like, but because sometimes people are really in need. You cannot, there really something happens to them and they need help. So that's fine. It's fine. You can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But if somebody is going to use your information, then what you give to them to make more money in their business while you're not making money in your business, how do we relate with that? You don't want to, I would say that's not fair. So that's not, but if somebody's really struggling and you have time, you can actually spare time to help, you can even do the person's work. Because, it's just because you know this person is going through something, right? Or it's a person, or you might just do that consultation with the person because of what the person is going through and point the person in the right direction. All right. But in the other cases, I said, somebody comes to you just to get advice to build their own business. I would say that that's not fair. So you have to, again, be wise on how you want to go and do it. Yes, you might want to scrap, but usually, free consultation actually draws people in so that they can actually become clients. And so, as I said, you might just choose the not really giving them so much or charge for that free consultation, because at the end of the day, you want that. And then you tell them that it's actually free if you come to work with me. All right. Awesome. Okay, so the next question I have, I think this is the last that we have time for. I'm looking at signing a 6-month contract. Okay, I will contract with a neighborhood magazine for marketing. Is this an advisable marketing strategy? Well, in this case, I would say it just depends. It just depends. Now, if your business is a global business, a business that not even global, national, it doesn't, should I say, it's not geographical. That's what I would say. If your business is not a geographical, it's not limited by a geographical region, all right? Then this is not a good idea for you if it's a neighborhood magazine, all right? So it depends. And that's why I tell people in marketing, you cannot say because my friend's business does this, I am going to use the same process with marketing, because your friend and you and your friend, both of you are not in the same industry. So when you talk about a neighborhood magazine for marketing, you have to look at what is it that you do, right? Right? Let's say if you're into when you're into a practice, dental practice, medical practice, right? That's fine. Daycare. That's great. Anything that is just neighborhood, geographically, should I say is limited by the region, right? Where the business is located, right? Like my profession, I will not go to a neighborhood magazine to market, because I can have clients all over the country. I can have clients out of the country because of what I do, right? So for me, I would not choose this for my business. So my answer to that, it depends, right? It depends. And also, in addition to that, when you talk about neighborhood magazine, what space are you taking on that platform? Are you taking something that is like a thumb drive? I know that's so small, but what is it so small that even people cannot see your advert in the magazine, right? So it depends on also what you're taking. Now, if you're taking a slot on the magazine that is so tiny, you might want to rethink it, right? Yes, some people say, oh, it goes to a lot of houses, but if it's so small that even nobody even sees your advert, then think again. I know it gets more expensive with the size of the advert. So you have to know what works, right? So, and one thing I would actually add is that you have to look at the cost benefit analysis, right? Yes, it goes to a lot of people, but to really show in that magazine, are you willing to spend that amount to show? All right, because usually you have to sign a 6-month contract, right? And if you think it's a good idea, if you see that it's going to bring results, please go ahead and do that. But again, do your cost benefit analysis. For example, if you're a daycare, right? One of the things you can do that actually can save you money is that distribute flyers into the schools. See if you can the schools in your neighborhood. Some schools would allow that. So it's something that you should consider, right? So, I would say that it just depends. My answer is that, is this an advisable marketing strategy? The answer to that question is that it just depends. It just depends. All right. Okay. So I believe that that's it for today. I mentioned before, I'm going on vacation, so I really don't think I'll be able to be here and come on for 2 weeks, but I will see if I can, I will. But just know that just for the next 2 weeks, I will be offline and having fun. You know, having fun. Summer is almost over, so I would suggest that you too have fun. Make sure that you enjoy the time that you have when it comes to you know, resting is very important. We all are busy, have to allocate time to rest. So I wish you a very wonderful week ahead. And thank you for being here. And of course, remember, you know, you have to be intentional to thrive. SMEs have to be intentional to thrive. All right, now have a good one. See you next time. Bye for now.